I will not be elaborating. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Just Another Struggling Writer, the beleaguered author's one-stop shop for commiseration and hopefully inspiration. My name is Carrie Scher, and I am just another struggling writer. For today's video, I am doing my February cozy reset, and I was giving it some thought, and I don't really have any reorganizing or any deep cleaning to do today, so instead I'm going to tell you guys about my January and reflect on my successes and look ahead to February and my goals for the next month while painting my nails. Now, I'm not an expert in nails or painting my nails or anything. This is just something I started doing about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago now, where I just wanted to give myself something to do that didn't really have a purpose and really just make me feel good about myself and give me something to look forward to and give me just a little bit of boosted self-esteem, something that I have struggled with in times past. So I just paint them and I put a top coat on, and that's really all I do. Nothing fancy. I'm taking off this kind of deep purple right now that's been on for a couple of weeks. I've fallen off in the last month or two of doing it every week, so now it's more like every 2 weeks, but this has really started to fall off. And we're going to put on this blue color, Drama at La Scala. So that's what I'll be wearing this week. So January. I had a really successful January in some ways and a kind of middling one in other ways. If you've watched my January reading recap video, you know that I blew my reading goal out of the water. I had set out to read 6 books in the month of January, and I ended up finishing 10 and DNFing 1 at 25%. So that was incredible. I haven't read that much in a single month. I think since probably high school. So that was a big jump for me. And I think a lot of it had to do with being motivated for the start of the year. But I think I'm starting to slow down a little bit now. But big reading month for me. Where I struggled, however, was in the writing department. I toned down, as you know, if you've watched my New Year's reading resolutions video, that I toned down my goal from 1,000 words a day to 500 words a day. And I hate to say it, but it didn't really help that much. It's making me realize that it's not as much the word count goal itself as it is getting into a daily habit. I'm really struggling with it. And I think part of the problem is that I've hit a wall in my manuscript. I'm struggling with a lot of writer's block lately. I knew it was coming because I'm coming up to the point in the plot that I don't have planned for. I thought I had a pretty good framework, but I'm normally a pretty strident planner, and without an outline, I'm really struggling. At least that was the excuse that I gave myself. Like, I don't have an outline, I don't. But truth be told, looking back, when I hit about 25,000 words, that is where all of my previous works in progress have stalled, is right at 25,000 words. And I don't fucking get it. It's awful. It makes me feel terrible. It makes me feel like a wannabe writer, but that is exactly where I am. I am just over 25,000 words right now in this current manuscript, and I feel completely stuck. I started and stopped this next chapter that I'm about to start about half a dozen times. I went back and tried reworking the end of the last chapter to see if that would help me, and it hasn't. I don't know. I was kind of in a mood about it last night, actually, just getting in my feelings and wondering if this is the right book. I'm feeling my age a little bit. I'm 35 and I'll be 36 later this year. And I know this is such a silly thing to worry about, but I find myself wondering, is it getting to be too late for me? And that has me thinking in terms of like my first manuscript that I finish and polish and prepare to send to an agent should be the one that gets me an agent. And I know that is unrealistic. I know that is not the case for most writers. Most writers probably write 3 or 4 books that get rejected or don't get picked up or trunked on their own before securing an agent. And that's the ones that get agented at all. So I'm trying to talk myself out of those blues. I'm starting to feel that like, no, this isn't the right manuscript right now. I should write something else. In the past, I would write something completely new. Right now, I'm like, oh, let me go take a look at some of those old ones that I've shelved and get back to them. Problem is that's not going to help me in the long run. What's going to help me is finishing a fucking manuscript. So I'm trying to talk myself around to getting back into this one and just fucking finishing it, regardless of whether I think it's the right time, regardless of whether I think it's good, and regardless of the new shiny toys that are the other stories that I want to write. All right, let's see. That's one layer. But I just need to get over myself. I really just need to bash my way through it. I just need to smash through the headlong with my forehead if I have to, and just force myself to get past whatever it is that is holding me up, because I'm not doing myself any favors by stalling or lollygagging or by looking behind at other projects. And I'm definitely not doing myself any favors by not writing. The only thing that is going to get me to where I want to be is writing. And I have really been struggling with that lately, and that really puts a downer on my mood, which of course affects my writing. But my goal is to start a new writing vlog tomorrow. I was going to start one on the 1st of February. Today is the 4th. So I was going to start one on Thursday. But unfortunately, it just didn't work out. I had so much to do on Thursday. And I was just like, I just don't have it in me today. So I told myself, okay, I'll finish it, or I'll start it tomorrow. Of course, that was Friday. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit later. But Fridays, I just have a hard time doing anything that remotely resembles work. And that includes video creation and editing and things like that. Anything that is work. I mean, even sometimes reading, I don't even want to do on a Friday, because for me, Friday is the end of my work week. And I just don't want to do anything. I'm usually like so tired from the week. I have kind of a high stress job. I don't like talking about it, but I just want to come home and not have a single obligation on a Friday night. So of course I didn't get any writing done on Friday. I wrote a little bit. Actually, I did write a little bit. I wrote about 100 words, but I think I ended up deleting them in a fit of pique because I was so frustrated yesterday with like how my manuscript was going and what I just talked about. So whatever I did on Friday ultimately meant nothing. So that was Friday. And then yesterday, like I said, I felt really shitty all day, like health-wise. I think I had a migraine starting to come on. So I was in bed a bunch. And when I got up, I just didn't want to do anything. Oh, I like it. So I didn't. And now we're to today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a writing vlog tomorrow instead of on the 1st, and go from the 5th to the 14th. And I've already adjusted my content creation schedule to accommodate for like when that would be done. And then I'll do another one right after. I would just do from the 19th to the 28th, but unfortunately I have to go out of town on the 28th. So I'm going to do the 5th to the 14th, and then the 15th to the 24th. All of that to say, January is not my strongest writing month. I'm hoping to do better. Okay, I say all that, but I did write 6,348 words. So I got some stuff done. My goal is like 30,000 words a month. So obviously fell way short of that, but I'm trying to give myself a little grace and say, hey, I'm 6,000 words stronger than I was in December. That's something. But I'm so tired of just telling myself that's something. I crave the discipline. I crave discipline is what I need, or is what it is. I crave the discipline that writers have to sit down and do it every day, even when they don't feel like it, and even when the words aren't coming and all that stuff. But we're just going to work on it in February. So that was writing. So I hauled 4 books and unhauled 2 books plus some manga that had been sitting in my garage since the move and I hadn't looked at in probably 15 or 20 years. So the 4 books that I added are the Dragons of Deepwood Fen by Bradley P. Beaulieu. I added The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. The Invasion of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. And then I added a physical copy of City of Brass by S. H. Chalkboardy. And then I unhauled Starling House by Alex E. Harrow and The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshni Chokshi. Let's talk about some of my favorites. So my favorite book that I read in January was Godkiller by Hannah Kaner. I gave it 4.5 stars. I originally gave it 4 stars, but after I thought about it, after it sat with me, I decided to bump it officially up to 4.5 because it was just so, not just the book itself, not just the story and the characters and the writing, but it made me want to be a better writer. I just admired how concise and to the point Hannah Kaner's writing was. It didn't waste a single word. It didn't waste a single page. There was nothing excessive or flowery or purple. It was all extremely to the point, and I love that. I couldn't believe it was only like 296 pages. So I'm really looking forward to the sequel that's supposed to be coming out later this year. I'm not going to sit on it. I'm probably going to read it straight away. I'm so excited. So that was my favorite book, and then I wanted to read the favorite line that I wrote over the past month. So my favorite line that I wrote in January was, Arceli blushes. She'd assumed Ming had access to her entire personnel file. Oh, well, it wasn't really that big a deal. I just tried to, spice up my friend's Memorial Day party with some handmade fireworks. Get it? She holds up her hand and waggles her fingers suggestively. Handmade? I will not be elaborating. And then my favorite video game that I played is Final Fantasy XIV, which is the online version of Final Fantasy, and that is a big favorite of mine. There's something just so comforting and so, I don't know, it's just like routine. I also just like playing with the character creator. I like making pretty girls and having fun with like taking screenshots. I got a little bit back into that, not as much. I don't have time for it anymore with the channel being like with my commitments that I've made to myself for the channel. I really just don't have time to play video games that much, but when I do, I like to play Final Fantasy sometimes because, like I said, it's just very relaxing for me. I don't think I have anything else in terms of favorites to talk about because I'm extremely boring. I don't really listen to music that much. I don't really watch that much TV, and I don't watch that many movies. Frankly, I just don't have the time. But those are my 3 favorite things from the month of January. Okay, so now we are going to look ahead to February and kind of talk about my content creation plans and my goals. So, starting with my content calendar, I am obsessed with how this looks right now. I just love all the angles and how they're all perfectly aligned because of the dates. It's the little things in life. So today you can see we've got the Cozy Reset. On Friday the 9th, I am going to be doing a book haul video because I got a pretty big bonus at work. And it wasn't like a company bonus. This was like a me bonus. Like I earned this with like the hard work that I have been doing at my day job. And so I didn't want to just sock this money away. I wanted to spend it on just me. So I went to Barnes and Noble for the first time in literally years and bought a whole bunch of books. And honestly, I kind of forgot how expensive full price books were because I most of the time when I'm book shopping, I either do thrift books or I go to Half Price Books, which is my local secondhand store. So I spent like half of my bonus at Barnes & Noble. So probably the biggest book haul I've had in a while. So I'm going to do a dedicated video to that. Then on Monday the 12th, in honor of Valentine's Day, I'm going to be doing a video talking about my favorite tropes that I love and look for when I am reading a fantasy book because I hardly read anything but fantasy. So I know it would make the more sense to be talking about romance, but I don't really read romance that much. I don't even read romantasy that much, but I'm going to talk about my favorite fantasy trope. Then on the 15th, I'm going to be doing a cozy reading vlog. I think I'm going to read Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey, the first novel in the Expanse series for this cozy reading vlog. I've just been feeling really Mass Effect-y, and I hear that the Expanse series feels a lot like Mass Effect. So I think that's what I'm going to read, and it's pretty long. So that's my goal for that. And then on the 18th, I'm going to have that cozy writing vlog. On the 21st, I am going to be doing a dedicated review of City of Brass. I reread it recently. I had originally read it in like 2018 and I thought it was mid, and I hadn't planned on continuing with the series because I just didn't really care for like the treatment of my favorite character, and I just could see that the series was going in a way that I wasn't really excited about. But I reread it, because I loved The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi by the same author so much. So I reread it, and it did improve on the second read. I did enjoy it more, but I just have some extended thoughts. So I'm going to do a full review, and that actually qualifies because of its age and its star rating on Goodreads. It actually qualifies for my Behind the Bandwagon review series. So I'll be doing that on the 21st. On the 24th, I'm doing a video that is going to be 3 authors I will read every time and 3 authors I refuse to read. I'm going to be honest with you, this might become 2 of each because I can't think of more authors. I'm still getting back into my reading era as an adult. So I have 2 authors so far that I will pick up every time in that category, and only 1 in the authors I will never read. So that might get amended. For now, it's 3 and 3. Then on the 27th, I am going to do that other writing vlog for the month. And that is officially it for the month of February for content creation. The other thing I have going on in February is at the very end of the month, the 28th, 29th, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Yes, I am actually going out of town on a trip with my daughter for her choir. She got accepted into a regional honor choir, and so she gets to fly. We get to fly to Denver so she can participate in this big deal honor choir. We're very excited, and I am planning on getting a shit ton of reading done. That is my big goal. Is I'm going to bring my Kindle and as many books as I can pack in a carry-on and see how much my goal is to read a book a day while I'm gone. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then maybe a short one on the plane back. So I am going to do a reading vlog of that experience. I'm really looking forward to it. I actually am kind of like, I hate travel, but this is like a big deal for my daughter. So I am making it into something fun by turning it into content, and you can draw whatever conclusions you'd like from that. So those are the things that I'm looking forward to in the month of February, but I also have some goals. I already talked about the big one, which is writing more. One thing I want to do in terms of writing more is I want to do more longhand writing. I have talked about this on my blog a lot, but not so much here. But one of the things that is kind of unique to my writing process is I get my best writing done longhand, like a notebook and a pen. I don't know what it is, but I find it so creatively fruitful for me. Something about a word processor with a blinking cursor and an empty page is so intimidating to me. And I have found that when I get a pen, I like sparkly gel pens and just regular notebooks that you get in grade school. And I have found that when I am in that medium, I am less prone to backspace. Like when you're writing and you hate that sentence and you can just backspace and start over. I don't do that as much when I'm longhand writing, because then you're just scratching it out and then you're just wasting the pen and the paper. And that just looks ugly, first of all, but it's also just a big waste of time. I discovered this several years ago during Nano, where I was stuck really early on in the month, and I realized that the work I was getting done at work, which was with a pen and paper, it was way more like fruitful than coming home and trying to write after a long day on my computer. I haven't done it so much lately because I started using a cloud-based word processor, and in theory, that I can do that on my breaks at work or when I'm at my daughter's music lessons or whatever. It hasn't really panned out that way. I'm still really only writing at home, but that's the theory. And I think I've really missed writing longhand. I love the feeling of writing until the pen runs out. That is one of the best feelings. I also just love watching the colors change as the pens run out and you have to change to a new color. I just miss it. So something that I'm going to dabble in. I'm not making it a firm goal because I don't want it to distract me from other writing, but something I'd like to do is maybe write a page or 2 a day longhand. And I've already picked a project that I'm going to do this for. I'm going to rewrite the first 25,000 words of a different project that I'd already started on, but I'm going to do it in a different way. I'm not going to get into all that here. I can talk about my drafting process in a completely different video, but the longhand writing I want to do is going to be more about refilling my creative well when I'm feeling stressed out and detached from my current draft. I don't want it to replace the current draft. I just want it to be a supplement. Like I said, I find the longhand writing to be much more fruitful for me. So I think if I give myself a place where I know I will be successful, it will kind of snap me out of a slump when I'm feeling slumpy with my main draft. That's the goal anyway. So I'm planning on doing a lot more writing. One on my main project that I am currently my current work in progress, which is The Seekers of Empyrean, the urban fantasy secret government agency story that I'm writing, and then the longhand draft that I'm going to do is going to be my portal fantasy, and I'm going to just really lean into the nature magic. I've been super interested and fascinated with nature magic, so I'm going to lean into that more in this draft and just kind of go hard on details and really just make it fun and creatively nourishing. That is my biggest goal for January. I'm not going to count my longhand draft words towards my reading goal because, again, ultimately it's about finishing a manuscript, and the manuscript I'm currently working on is not that one. So I'm not going to count it towards my total goal for the month. Like I said, it's really just more about giving me a boost when I need it. And then the second goal I have is to take Fridays off from all of my obligations and ambitions. And the reason for that is I already talked about it a little bit, but I need a day off. I can't go 7 days a week. I'm happy to film and write and read and all of the content creation things on the weekends. In fact, I prefer it because I have time. I can take a nap before or after and feel refreshed or whatever. But on Fridays specifically, I'm already in the mental mindset of this is the end of my week. And on Friday night, I may read and I may write and I may do video stuff, but I don't want it to be an obligation that I have to fulfill on Friday night. Friday night should be about coming home and taking off my bra and kicking off my shoes, throwing on some sweatpants in my fireplace and watching some anime or, catching up on YouTube videos or whatever I want to do, or going out to dinner with my partner or whatever. I don't want it to be about constantly maintaining productivity. I think I have fallen into the trap of go, 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 go so much since December. And looking back on the kind of peaks and valleys of my productivity, Friday night is a black hole anyway. And I think I will, by allowing myself the space and the grace to take one night off a week from being productive, it'll actually help me be more productive in the end because I'm not going to feel guilty. I'm not going to spend as much energy going, oh, I should be doing this. And then I can wake up on Saturday morning so much more refreshed and ready to go and tackle everything else. So that is my big goal, is to allow myself one night a week where I don't have a single obligation that's creatively or work or anything. Like I said, I may do those things if I choose, but I don't have to, and that's the point. I don't have to. Friday night is my me night from now on. And then the third goal is, I've mentioned it already, but I'm going to watch more anime. I used to be really into anime when I was a teenager. I was actually in the first anime club at my high school. I was a teenager during like the golden age of anime in the US with Gundam Wing and Dragon Ball Z and Toonami. And so I was really into it for like 5 or 6 years as a teenager and young adult. And then what happened was I moved away from all my friends right after I graduated high school. And it became harder and harder and harder to stay connected. And my interest just changed because my ex at the time wasn't as into it. So it wasn't as much of a communal activity. I've kind of fallen away from it. My daughter is starting to get really into it. And like, I don't know, I've just been feeling really nostalgic. So, and the other thing about anime specifically which is why I want to target it specifically rather than like other TV shows or anything else, is I have to sit and actually watch it because of the subtitles. And because I am a chronic multitasker, I have to if I'm sitting down and I'm watching anything, I also have my computer in front of me or a book or my phone or whatever. I'm always doing at least two things at once. But with anime specifically I have to read the subtitles or I'm not going to understand what's going on. And so I have to sit there and actually watch it the whole time. And I think this goes back to like allowing myself to take Friday off, is that is going to force me to take half an hour or an hour, however long I want to sit there and watch, and disengage from going so much and so hard and feeling need and the need to maximize every minute and second of my day. So I started an old classic last night that I had been a fan of when I was a teenager, Magic Knight Rayearth. I just remember loving the opening music so much, and I love Clamp. Cardcaptor Sakura is one of my favorites of all time. I'm gonna watch it, and it's pretty short. It's only 2 seasons, so I can get through it pretty quickly. And then I think I'm gonna do another Clamp, Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicle, which I watched the first like half season of when it first came out and not since. Maybe some more Cardcaptor Sakura, and I want to watch the new version of Fruits Basket because Fruits Basket is my favorite manga of all time, and I really enjoyed the original anime, and I know that the new version is more faithful. That's just my goal, is that I want to have something that I enjoy that forces me to disengage from other activities so I can enjoy it more, because truthfully, I don't think I enjoy other things as much when I'm trying to multitask. It all just goes back to self-care, really, in the end, taking care of my mental health by allowing myself to take time off without feeling guilty, and partaking in activities that are purely about the enjoyment of the activity and not about maximizing productivity, even when I'm trying to relax. And that's pretty much everything I have for you guys. Thank you so much for coming along and participating. I haven't put the top coat on yet. I'm gonna go back to my desk and do that, but it's kind of dark, but I don't know, I kind of like it. So thank you so much for watching. I would so appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. I am still just a baby channel, and while I'm doing this for fun because it's a hobby and not because I want to be like the quintessential YouTuber, I do so appreciate everyone who comes and watches my videos and hits a like or drops me a comment. I do love that. And so please like and subscribe if you like my content, and I will see you in the next video.